Oh, yeah, I got to go back over here and do this now.
So, I'll just ask you later. Never mind.
Oh, is it about baseball?
Yeah, actually.
Think about baseball, swing all night.
Yes.
As much as I hate that song, I love I Saw Red. I can't even tell you.
No, that's all right.
All right, share it to everybody. Share it to the world.
All right.
Sing out loud. Sing out. Oh, I just
Did you know that Tom Scott played on that song as well?
I was not aware of that.
Yeah, that little recorder kind of thing.
Tom Scott was the band leader of 2 failed talk shows. Oh, shit. One of them was Pat Sajak, and I think the other was Chevy Chase. I believe he was the Chevy Chase band leader.
And he's proud of it too. He calls himself out on that. Yeah.
Well, it's not his fault. I mean, I don't think we're gonna fire this guy. The band's terrible. No,
it's just the association part. But yeah, he's freaking Tom Scott. If you don't know what Tom Scott is,
tremendous.
I know he's on TikTok, and if you go to TikTok and go, oh my God, some of the stuff you will not believe the stuff the hit songs that guy has been on.
Well, he's been on a lot. He was on several Steely Dan hits, right?
Yes, a lot of Steely Dan and Jazz Man by Carole King. He's the saxophone, the heavy saxophone player on that. Also, the Captain and Tennille song, "Do That to Me One More Time."
Oh, geez.
There's like that little recorder type thing. He plays that
on A&M Records.
On A&M Records.
A&M Records.
Also, he was on Billie Jean. He's the in the background there. Not my lover.
Holy shit!
So yeah, man, he's done it all, man. That's just, I'm telling you. I knew the guy when I started working at Record Bar. That's when Tom Scott was one of the people that I discovered. You know, I thought I knew so damn much about music when I was 17, 16.
When I was 16, I started spinning. I was spinning smooth jazz records and big band records at night on WPNF, a 1,000 watt station, and there was all these guys I never, like Bob James and David Sanborn and all these people I'd never heard of, and I got to discover
Bob James
them.
is another one. Yes.
Bob James has been on. Bob James did the theme to Taxi, which is called Angela.
Nice.
Because, and do you know why it's called Angela? As we geek out on each other in the beginning of the show.
No, I don't. I thought
on the first. I think it's on the second episode. Alex has a crush on his phone operator. He has a phone answering system, and the woman's name is Angela. He calls in to get his messages, and he thinks her voice is so hot, and he meets her, and she's kind of a heavy set girl. Her name is Angela. And that's why they named the song Angela. And that's how cool. And she actually makes an appearance a season or two later, and she's lost a tremendous amount of weight. And it's really
so cool.
It's very interesting.
Well, I did not know that. Yeah.
It's Tuesday night. You know what that means?
Oh, hey, what?
It's time for us to bitch about Vince Russo. There's a lot of things I wanted to cover tonight, and I did not. Now, did you see the entire Russo video? You saw the whole thing. Okay. And I didn't want to do this. I didn't want to do this. And if this is going to bother you or hurt your feelings, just go ahead. Go ahead. Please, no, you preface this.
Go ahead and say what you got to say. But let me just throw in real fast. I normally, if I see anything about him, if you send me anything about him, if I listen or watch anything of it, it's maybe 10 seconds. Yeah. You know, I can't take it. But I started listening to this. And I started getting intrigued about stuff, and I started listening. And then next thing you know, I'm listening to the whole thing. So, okay, yes. So I can base everything I say on watching the whole video. So, yes. Sorry to interrupt, but yes.
No, it's fine. We have, I don't normally, if it's going to hurt your feelings for us to shoot on this guy, because we're going to, because he's an asshole, and we have to do that, and that's because he's gone beyond the pale. Our association, for people that don't know, and not everybody knows the history of this show with Vince Russo. When we first got into podcasting, I was in radio myself from about 1986 to roughly 2014. So from the time I was 16 till the time I was 44. And then radio said, go fuck yourself. We don't want you anymore, Britt Whitmire. Go do something else. And there was this podcasting thing. So I didn't know how to do podcasting or anything. And I'd heard about these guys on the Realm Network because I used to be a big Don and Mike listener. Don and Mike was a great syndicated show out of WJFK in Washington, D.C. And a couple of the interns on the show named Mark and Lowell had broken off from the Mike O'Meara podcast, and they had started their own thing called the Realm Network, RELM, and it stood for, it was all of the partners. It was Ronick, Elston, Lowell, and Lowell Meltzer, and it's RELM is what it spelled out, because Buzz Burbank was involved as well. So that's how the Brad and Britt cast started, and the Katie Vick is Alive show started on the Realm Network in 2014. And we were two of the first shows. We were the very first wrestling show on that particular network, and some other ones jumped on. Well, Vince Russo got locked out of his old website a few years ago and needed somewhere to go. And in a moment of sheer panic or desperation or whatever, our friend Adam Chirac sent a tweet to Vince and said, hey, you should call Mark Ronick and you should start partnering with him. So Vince Russo brought all of his horseshit fantasy baseball and wrestling stuff over to the Realm Network, which is fine. And in the beginning, we got along very well with the guy, didn't we? In 2015, 2014, we were having a good time with him. He came on our show. He put us over on social media. It was fine. And then he started his normal homophobic bullshit. I think what set me off was that I think it was Meltzer made a comment about Charlotte or something. And he said, well, that's not normal. That's not a normal reaction for a guy. Like heavily intoning that Dave Meltzer is homosexual. And so I think he had made some comments about. I cut a couple of really decent promos on him. There were some pretty good promos, right?
Yeah, oh yeah. They were funny but truthful.
They were really pretty good ones. And I actually, because he's so stuck in the fucking past, I talked about his wife. He must insist that his wife have a massive bush, looks like a fucking Soul Train afro. Some of these things are coming back to me now. And I was then scolded by Lowell Meltzer. Well, it was Mark Ronick. Mark Ronick was the hitman. He's a gigantic pussy, but for these guys, he's a tough guy. For them, they made him.
He's the R. He's the in Realm.
He's the guy who was always like, he sends me these. Oh, you can't do that. You can't do that. You're saying awful things. You're attacking.
Visions of that 10 o'clock a.m.
Yeah,
program director's office.
How dare you say that about Ronald Reagan? The man's a national hero. Shit like that. So this would go on, and I would say, why are you harassing me about this? First of all, I was receiving no money from Mark Ronick. We had a business relationship.
I do remember that.
There was no money, because you remember getting no money from Mark Ronick, right?
That seems to be coming back to me, yes.
There was no money, so how can you tell me who not to attack, who to attack, what to say, if you're not paying me any money? Like, if you're paying me money, we can have the discussion. When I was on the radio and somebody was responsible for my paycheck and they went, hey, don't say this anymore, I had to go, okay, I won't say that anymore or I won't get paid. That's kind of how that worked. So we would go round and round about this, and eventually it got to the point where Mark goes, hey, you got to stop. And I said, does this even include my social media? And he goes, yeah. And he literally said, it's like Mom said, if you can't say anything nice about somebody, don't say anything at all. And at that point, I was like, I'm out. We had a business relationship that we started with Brad and Britt where we were going to share revenue from any sponsors. And I can tell you that was a very one-sided relationship. We had a sponsor on the first year of our show, and I think I ended up sending the Realm Network a few $100s out of that. That's way more. That's a few $100s more than they ever sent me, which is near zero. If you close your eyes and tell me what you see, that's how much money I ever got from the Realm Network. So when he said, hey, you can't say anything on your social media about Vince Russo, I was like, that's it. We're done. We'll just do this on our own. And this was, I think, around 2016 when all of that happened, which led to, I'm going to hold up the t-shirt for those of you watching. And on the back of the t-shirt, the Katie Vick t-shirt, it says, I hurt Russo's feelings. So that was the genesis of that, is he basically harassed us and made us leave like the Realm Network. And so the Realm Network has been just dreadful. I mean, once we left, the guys at the Gaming Marathon, Adam Chirac and Dennis and those guys were like, we're not going to stick around either. And once Katie Vick, Brad and Britt, and the Gaming Marathon left, that was a big chunk of anybody who ever listened to the Realm Network. They were just done. I mean, Russo certainly had his rabid core of followers, and more on that as we go along. So we kept hearing over the years, I would hear weird things about Ronick. I didn't really think about those guys very much. Like Dennis,
I'm just going to say it right now. I didn't. I did
Dennis
not.
Dennis and Adam and those guys would bring stuff to my attention. Apparently, he got like last year into some really new age kind of Zen shit, and it was super weird. Anyway, I just didn't care. And then I heard all this stuff about Vince Russo has bought the Realm Network. That was a few months ago, and I thought, well, that's unusual.
When was that? Was it like right the start of the first of the year? Or was it after the first of the year?
It was like it was around April, maybe the early spring.
It was long after that. Okay, I was thinking it seems like it's been forever. Okay,
and they go, Vince has bought the Realm Network, and my immediate thought was, what exactly did he buy? What has he bought? I mean, we had this discussion when Billy Corgan bought the National Wrestling Association. What did you buy? I mean, at least there's some brand name value in the NWA because fans have heard of that. The Realm Network has no name brand value. Like, you can't go into an advertising agent. Yes, I'll take that meeting. That's Realm. That doesn't exist. That's not a thing. So
was Bill DeMott, was his podcast still going?
He did that for about 5 minutes. I don't think he was ever doing it. I mean, I'm trying to think of who I would see. Like Goldilocks had a thing with Russo. Him and Jeff Lane would do stuff. And boy, this Jeff Lane fellow, who is his young boy, it's just bizarre. That relationship is very. Now, if I were a guy who was homophobic, I would worry if those two were, if I may use again mid-70s sitcom terminology.
Don't get too scientific on us here.
I'm fairly subtle.
Well, see, as well as I do, I'm going to venture to say 90+% of the time, when you hear people like him put down people like them,
it's true.
It's usually that reason, what you just said.
It's almost always the most homophobic people are gay. Like, it's almost like we always made that joke about Mike Pence at the rest stop out on I-40 in the bathroom at 3:00 in the morning, tapping his feet twice in stall number 6. I mean, it's almost always that guy. Those are the people. If you ever see,
that's why it's funny. That's why it's funny.
And if you ever see the film American Beauty, and what happens to the Kevin Spacey character and what happens to his buddy there, Chris Cooper, you kind of get the vibe. That's what's going on. So I'm like, well, what did he do? What have you bought when you bought the Realm Network? And then I would kind of go in. They would have these chats on Facebook. Say, Vince Russo is live now. So I would look in, and Vince would go, bro, we're trying to raise money for the Realm. And I would pop in and I'd put a comment on his live thing like, you really didn't know what you were getting into when you bought this thing, did you? And he didn't recognize the name. He go, bro, you're right. I didn't know there would be so much expense. And so he puts out this video, and I guess this came out today. And it was it Colton that brought this to our attention? He put it in the DMs?
So, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's listen to some of this and break it down, because it is mind blowing.
Let me say one more thing then.
Yes.
If you're going to play it. The comment I sent back to, and you probably saw it too, because I think I sent it back to.
Yes.
This was so fucking hard to listen to. So that being said,
I'm gonna tell you this, and you're gonna laugh at me, and you're gonna be like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" At the end of this thing, if I didn't know how dreadful Vince Russo was as a human being, I would almost feel sorry for him for how stupid he is. I would almost feel some pity in my heart for him for how stupid this man is. Okay.
So basically, you're saying if you were one of his little bro boys,
yes, exactly,
you would understand.
If I bought into this horseshit that his followers, this is the man that created the Attitude Era. He built Stone Cold Steve Austin. He had TNA ratings at highest level. If I believed any of that shit, I would. But I feel 100% pity on him, sort of, because he's so stupid. Let's listen to some of this from the very beginning here.
God wants us to obey him and to speak accordingly to his word.
So you're getting some really good
off the bat.
You're getting some great dogma, because look, I don't know if this man's ever been on drugs. I find that, when there are people who are on drugs, sometimes they use religion as their drug. They replace
Mike Liddell.
You replace This edition,
sorry, I had something in my throat.
with that edition, mypillow.com. And I know he likes the weed, and I think he's the kind of guy that smokes weed with his sons. I think Mitchell told me that one time. He's living there in Colorado. He loves to smoke the weed. But I would almost think he has an addictive personality when it comes to religion. I think he found God 20-ish years ago, maybe after WCW declined.
After WCW, yeah.
I think that was when he found God, when he realized. And again, it's never like a person who, wow, I've had this good fortune come into my life. I'm a good person. I need God. It's always like, oh, I'm a raging asshole, and everybody stop. I should probably reach out for God. It's always those people.
It's what we call the last straw of Jesus.
Yeah, exactly. Here's some more religiosity.
If obedience to that principle makes people hate us or gets us thrown in jail or even killed, we are not to back down.
So he's literally he's Simon Peter. I don't know who he is. He's at this point.
I don't know.
The word of God's going to get him killed.
God wants us to speak the truth boldly, but he never promises that we'll always be free to speak without consequences.
Mm-hmm.
And so we rebuild.
Mm-hmm.
Relaunching the Realm Network for me was really nothing more than a labor of love. When I began my journey with Mark Ronick and his upstart company over
The name is pronounced Ronick. It rhymes with tonic.
But he's such good friends with him.
He
Come
was
on, man.
in business with him for like 7 years. He bought the network from him. You know, when I used to hang out with Stephen Jobs at conferences and stuff, we just had the best time, and we would talk a lot about computers and things like that, and then it was just amazing.
Damn.
Mark Ronick.
Mark Ronick.
7 years ago, I looked at it as an opportunity to finally be me. After living within the cult of professional wrestling for over 20 years and being forced to change my stripes just in order to survive.
Because everybody knows the pro wrestling, the straitjacket they put on you in that particular industry. It's just remarkable. The censorship that's involved in pro wrestling. Oh my God. It's just the worst.
Releasing those shackles was one of the most rewarding experiences in my life. I worked closely with Realm to provide the type of entertainment that we could all enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
Just happy, go lucky, and maybe an occasional bro thrown in there.
Sure, it was happy and go lucky. It was about how white guys are getting fucked over and I hate homosexuals. That's basically the happy go lucky programming that Vince Russo was talking about, bro.
See, we haven't even got to the part I want to talk about yet.
I know, right?
However, I was then blindsided. Living in a world where you find those who are jealous, bitter, and looking to make a name for themselves, I was labeled a racist and a homophobe based on a story I told of my experiences at an airport and having fun with a couple kissing while wearing creepy masks.
No.
No.
You were being called a homophobe because you are homophobic. And have been for like many years and have made every opportunity to make comments about gay people that you possibly could, and then you use your religiosity here later to kind of justify that. It's God's will, and et cetera, you dumb fuck. That's why you're that.
That was it. This despicable human being rallied his followers who contacted my network, and without Podcast One even asking one single question, my show was canceled.
Congratulations.
My livelihood was set back.
What's it like to be thrown off your network, Vince? Is that hard? Is that something difficult? I'm just curious.
Ability to provide for my wife and I was just shut off.
Oh.
This was my first experience with cancel culture. In all my years living on this planet, there wasn't a damn thing I could do. All of a sudden, there was this black cloud hanging over my head that I did not deserve, nor did I merit.
Oh.
All because of one horrible human being who made the decision to attack me in an effort to gain power and notoriety.
Is he talking about Cornette?
Power and notoriety.
Is it he's talking about Cornette, or is it somebody else?
I don't know. I assumed Cornette. I don't know.
I thought it was. Let's talk about filling out some false police reports.
See, that's what Cornette needs, some more notoriety. You know?
Sure.
And it didn't end there. Soon after, when I gave my biblical beliefs
Here we go.
on the relationship between a man and a woman,
Yeah.
as written by God in the first chapter of the Bible, Genesis.
Yeah, it says it in the first chapter. And then, you know, Jesus was all the time saying it when God put his son on earth about how he didn't want gay people hanging out together. And it was in the commandments. It says a man should not lie with another man. It was one of the 10 commandments. I don't understand why people don't get it through their heads. Why they can't you?
This same human being was now publicly labeling me a sexist. Mind you, I've been married for almost 40 years.
Yeah.
And the relationship I have with my wife is the strongest it's ever been.
Well, there you go. That must mean you're not a sexist. If you've been married for a
right.
long time and your wife puts up with your shit for
That's
God
exactly
knows
right.
whatever reason, then you can't be a sexist.
This overall experience changed me to the very core.
Did it?
All of a sudden, I just wasn't allowed to be me.
Oh,
From that moment on, my speech was muzzled, constantly worrying about who was going to misconstrue my words next in order to gain some kind of sick and twisted power.
Who was going to accurately portray your words correctly and convey them to people who would be shocked by your horse shit.
To win, in order to claim victory and superiority over me. But it wasn't just me. This was happening all around me, as every day somebody was being canceled, regardless of if the charges were true or false.
Right. Because the charges that you're homophobic and a piece of shit are like so far from the truth. So unbelievably. And you already just justified it by saying it's in Genesis, so you're okay with it.
Yeah.
God gives you the right to be a bigot. He gives you license to be a bigot. That's certainly what God wants. You dumb shit.
God.
There was never even a hearing because less and less the truth didn't matter.
Yeah, there's no hearing because you're not in court, you dumb fuck.
I was like, hearing what?
I would like a hearing before the court of public opinion.
Hear ye, hear ye.
You know, when you're going to have your freedom deprived, you're going to be put into a jail cell. You get a hearing. When your liberty is being deprived, when you're not allowed just to call gay people fags and stuff, that you don't get a hearing. That's how that works, dumbass. I mean, Jesus.
Come on.
There was a movement going on to silence those who disagreed with you.
Yeah.
Just wipe them off the face of the earth.
Mm-hmm. I would just like to add that the movement to silence him. This video I'm playing is on this really unique, odd platform called YouTube. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's this company called Google or something like that. They got it.
Okay.
So I don't know why he can't be on a big platform where everybody can hear him say this, but he's been canceled. So the man's obviously a victim.
I was seeing people around me get canceled, demonetized, taken down, shadow banned, whatever word you want to use. The freedom of speech that our forefathers discussed and agreed upon centuries ago now meant nothing.
Freedom of speech is going to be a real great theme in this, and we do want to hang into that because Bryant and I really didn't have a freedom of speech apparently, but Vince Russo apparently does, and it's been abridged. Apparently, Bryant,
by God.
It was only Vince's forefathers, not Bryant and I, not our forefathers, who count when it comes to freedom of speech.
Millions of servicemen and women who lost their lives over the years fighting for our freedom.
Yeah, here we go.
If you shit on Vince Russo, you're shitting on veterans of every war.
Every single war.
Mom, Apple Pie, Benjamin Franklin, Amelia Earhart, the Lindbergh baby. You're shitting on all of it if you somehow call Vince Russo out on his transphobia and homophobia.
Was all for naught.
Yes.
I was just like, can y'all see how this is so
painful?
fucking
I
hard
can
to
just,
listen to? Oh,
if you're watching the video portion, Bryant is really squirming, and I don't want to make you squirm.
I'm sorry. I don't really mean to do it. I'm sitting there watching myself squirm too, and I'm like, oh, okay.
We're leading ourselves up to a tremendous payoff, and this is where Russo is going to get his comeuppance. Trust me, there's a great payoff in this thing. Just hang in there.
Meaningless lives wasted. Every day it was hitting closer and closer to home.
Oh,
My friend Ben Dorr.
No!
Yes, Ben Dorr.
not Ben Dorr.
Lost his platform for being a crazed conspiracy theorist, which is simply another term for looking at things a different way.
That's what a conspiracy theorist is. Not someone who spreads dangerous misinformation that gets people killed. Hi, I'm Alex Jones. Have we met? Hi, I'm Tucker Carlson. Have we met?
Now, isn't Ben Dorr? Isn't he the tag team partner of Mustafa Ali these days? Isn't who that is?
Oh no, not Ben Dorr. How dare you liberal Philistines take Ben Dorr? The man was a national treasure. Oh God.
A national treasure.
The Marines who hoisted the flag at Iwo Jima have been shat upon because we don't have Ben Dorr anymore.
Bend over.
Sean Morley, a friend of 30 years, was literally squashed because he dared to speak up for the rights of the American people when it comes to the rules and regulations that the government puts upon them.
I'm assuming he's anti-vax, and of course, this is Sean Morley, the man who had a T-shirt back in the day that had splooge on it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Let's just not only that. What about the damn Titantron every time he walked out?
Exactly.
I mean, just that low.
And Aubrey Huff, who I have known for a couple of years now.
Who the fuck is Aubrey Huff?
You don't know who Aubrey Huff is? No, he played for.
Wasn't he the bass player for Cry of Love? Wasn't that who he was?
No.
Oh, that's Audrey Free.
Don't demean Cry of Love like that, dude.
Oh, sorry.
Don't. Just don't.
Who is Aubrey Huff?
Aubrey Huff is this fucking just asshole, typical Southern goddamn anti-vaxxer, Trump-loving asshole. He's been banned on Twitter. I mean, I think he played for Tampa Bay for Tampa for a while.
Okay, now it's coming to me. He's a former baseball player.
Yeah, he played like right field or something.
He got kicked off Twitter about a week ago.
Yeah, I was gonna say not too long ago. He's just a complete asshole, man. You know, it's one thing to be an anti-vaxxer and a Trumper and all that stuff, but to be one of those and then elevate it to the next level to being the asshole version of it, man, he is every bit of that.
He's all of that.
God, he's horrible.
All right, I apologize to the band Cry of Love and also Dag.
Yeah, thank you on behalf of them.
Audley Freed was also in Dag, so I apologize.
Aubrey Huff, who has made a stand of the love for his country, the love for his freedom, and his undenying love of God, has been canceled, silenced, time and time again.
Yep.
Sidebar.
Fucking asshole.
I lost 80% of my revenue on YouTube when I decided to do a show entitled That's Life that spoke about God.
That's life.
By the way, I'm sure that's the entire story. I'm sure that's all
that's all there is to it. Bottom line.
I want to do about a show about God. And then the guys from Google went, "You're dead to us. No more you. Fuck you, Vince." No, I'm sure that's all there is to that story.
Celebrated my undenying love of God.
This is the amazing thing, though. Somehow through all this, God figures out a way to love you. And I don't know how he does that, Vince, but that is just the amazing part of the whole thing. God loves gay people. God loves transsexual people. And somehow God finds a way to love you. That's the most amazing part of all of this, Vince, throughout all of this shit.
Shame on me.
Yeah, shame on me.
Throw that red scarlet letter on my chest. Yes, I love God.
Like if I was like a super Christian like this, and I thought this is the guy that's like representing me, I'd be like, I'll do anything else. I'll be Buddhist. I'll be Muslim. I'll be anything. If that's the guy who's supposed to be carrying the flag for Christians everywhere. Vincent Kennedy Russo. Sorry, Vincent James Russo. The funny part of this, you can't really, can you, I don't know if you can see that very well if you're watching us live. Do you see the disco puppet behind him?
Yes, that's the first thing
Like
I
the
saw.
whole
As a matter of
time
fact, when I
he's
was
doing,
watching it.
and somebody in the comments on YouTube goes, could you do it again without the disco puppet? It kind of takes a little of it kind of takes a little bit off the edge of that thing.
With all this building on a daily basis, I received a call from Mark Ronick of Realm.
Who?
Mark Ronick.
Sorry.
You know, you remember that show Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In?
I do remember that. Yes.
That was such a good deal, wasn't it? Mark Ronick. My good friend, Mark Ronick. It's fucking Ronick. It's like, you know, within 5 seconds. I've had dinner with Mark Ronick. I've sat at a table eating dinner with Mark Ronick before. Oh, God.
You know, it was one of my favorite songs as a kid. Row, row, row your boat. I love that.
Holy shit. I remember prepping Ronick for the meeting he was going to have with Russo. He's probably going to throw the word bro at you 165 times. Just be ready for that, because he's such a dick. That's what he's going to do.
Informing me that he wanted to move on to other things and he was going to shut down the Realm Network.
All right. Now I'm going to shut up for a minute because it's very important. This is the part where the villain of our story takes one right up the ass. And which is ironic for this guy.
So much.
The God that he loves so much allows him to get completely fucked over by his own stupidity. This is the part of the story that you're going to love.
It was at that time that the light bulb immediately went off in my head. Buy it. Use it as a platform to celebrate the freedom of speech, to allow people of all walks of life to freely share their ideas, values, thoughts, and opinions. What a great fucking idea. Hell, bring in people from the left, people from the right, create forums with.
By the way, I'm sure he was going to bring in tons of people from the left. I'm sure there was going to be like a large number of Democrats who are going to be allowed to do this.
They could have open conversations with each other. People who disagree need to talk. That always has been and always will be the solutions to problems.
Sure. I mean, that was a solution for us on the Realm Network. You set up a conference and we talked it out. That's what happened.
Can I just say this?
Let me get Bryant and Britt on the phone and we can talk to them.
Yeah, no doubt. But can you imagine Aubrey freaking Huff getting on there and and discussing something with somebody from the left?
That's not how it works. No,
he's an asshole.
Well, it's like the old Hannity and Combs show where you can't let Combs ever get over. You just can't. You have to minimize him in every way possible. Let the other guys have the last word, because that's what his stupid aggrieved white male audience wants. They don't want a liberal. That's a great point. I had never thought about that. Perhaps I should get vaccinated. That's something that does not exist in Russo land or now the Realm Network.
Dance. Republicans, black, white, gay, straight, transgender, Catholic, Buddhist, didn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Realm would be open to everybody. I can't tell you how excited I was.
Yeah.
This was me. This was my purpose. I took about $20,000 of money I had saved.
I want you to remember that figure. What was the figure that he just gave?
20,000.
$20,000. Just want you to remember $20,000 because that's going to be another huge theme.
I put everything into the new Realm Network. The plan was to have 30 shows across the platform celebrating sports, entertainment, pop culture, comedy, retro, and yes, freedom of speech. And as I was building my platform, many names were being suggested to me, including Sean Morley and Aubrey Huff.
Oh my God! There's no way this thing is going to fail.
That's the person I just mentioned. Unbelievable!
If we have Sean Morley and Aubrey Huff on this thing, it's going to take off like a motherfucker. God Almighty!
Wow, that was an easy place to start. I knew those guys. So after several conversations, Aubrey and Sean were aboard. Enter the shitstorm. Vince, you associating with those two absolute pieces of shit now makes you a racist, a homophobe, a sexist, an anti-Semite. You name it, Vince, you're all of those things.
It's amazing that he could actually find somebody that would drag his reputation down.
I can't imagine. It just blows my mind.
It's the weirdest thing.
No matter how many times I tried to explain, this was going to be an even playing field.
Oh, sure.
And by the time the menu was complete, all sides were going to be representing.
Absolutely.
Those bestowing nothing but hate upon me just didn't want to hear that.
I bestow
You give those
hate
two
upon
pieces
you.
of shit a platform.
I hate you, you bastard.
Bestow it. Bestow it. Come on.
And we're quitting the brand.
Well, like if he's a fan of the Old Testament, that's all he did was bestow hate upon each other and shit like that.
No, it's such a Bible
Hey,
word.
Job, your whole family's gone, motherfucker, and your cattle too. How about some pus for you? Ha 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 ha! It's your old buddy guy, Vince, fucking over Job. Read the whole
what?
book.
Wait, isn't his name Job? Isn't that how you pronounce it?
I forgot. Job, I killed your whole family. That's why in wrestling we call it doing the job.
The Job.
The job.
Which was really strange because the new platform had absolutely nothing to do with my wrestling platform. And by the way, these new shows were behind a paid fucking wall.
I think God wants you to use that kind of language. I don't think he does. It's terrible.
They were available to those who wanted them. So this is where we're going to expose you, Vince, for who you really are shit gets thrown at me. So I ask you, who am I, bro?
I ask you.
Thank you. I wasn't going to say anything, but since you said it,
I ask you, who am I, bro?
No, really. Who the fuck am I?
You don't want to ask that question. You're a
come on,
self-important.
quit asking.
You're a
asking.
You're a self-important, aggrieved white male, well past middle age, who doesn't have a lot to say and who's trying to do something. And we're about to find out you are one of the shittiest businessmen in the history of business. I mean, there should be a business school class taught about how awful this motherfucker is here in a second.
Tell me, who am I?
You already got it.
I'll tell you who I am. I'm a son. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I'm a guy who wrote a fucking television show.
Choppy, PP.
PP.
A guy who believes in the freedom of speech. That's who I am. After spending days at least trying to explain, I came to the conclusion, no matter what I said, these people just want to be negative and miserable.
Yeah.
Vince, you will never be able to please them. Go on with your business. So I did. I wrote checks of over $5,000 3 weeks in a row to build a Rome network.
$5,000 over 3 weeks in a row. I want you to continue to remember these figures.
Okay, say that again. Say it again. $5,000.
$5,000, more than $5,000 over 3 weeks in a row. So he said he's paying $20,000.
Okay.
So I don't know if
he's what now? What are we up to?
Well, I mean, I don't know if we're paying installments of $6,000 and change to get up to 20 over a period of 3 weeks. I don't know what we're doing, but
he's using like 5,000 is like a roundish number.
Roundish number. I don't know how, but he's we're at least 15 grand into this thing, but he's saying it's 20. So that's what I got.
Yeah.
In a month, we were ready to launch. Everything was ready to go. But we kept having this damn problem with the RSS feed. No matter what we did, we couldn't resolve it.
What do you know about RSS feeds?
I don't know a whole lot about them, but
It's part of the reason that this show is not on Apple Podcasts anymore. But it's it's the thing that they call it really simple syndication. It's the thing that feeds your new show into whatever slot it needs to be in. If you're getting a show from Google Podcast, if you're getting it from Spotify, it comes from an RSS feed. And
gotcha. I've seen it RSS, but I didn't know what it stood for. Okay.
I'm just going to tell you, we're on Anchor.fm now, which is a company that Spotify owns. It's free. It's free. There's no real problem with the RSS feed. It does it itself. It's completely automated. I have nothing to do with it. I couldn't fuck it up if I wanted to. I couldn't. There was a problem in the very beginning. We immediately quashed it, got it back up. And the Brad and Britt cast, for example, was not on Apple Podcast for about a week after the transition. Now, beautiful chef's kiss, no problem. Everything's rocking and rolling. So RSS feeds being fucked up, I don't understand. Because I know for a fact that the Realm Network was using Libsyn, because we used Libsyn up until the end of June. That's what we were using ourselves here on this show and on Brad and Britt. And I said, I can't continue to pay for this when this thing is going to be over here doing this. And plus, I had to go back to Adobe Audition to edit the show, so I was having to pay for that. So I was like, I'm going to take this expense off the plate and replace it with this. So we end up breaking even. And that's the whole situation with that. I don't know what he's talking about with RSS feeds getting fucked up.
The developer of Realm couldn't figure it out, nor could the programmer of the program it appeared they were getting into. Now this became an issue. We were being set back. Since I was paying the developer by the hour, $200 an hour to be exact, the money started mounting up.
So maybe that's where he gets the $20,000 fee. He wrote checks of like over $5,000 over 3 weeks, and then he has to pay this guy $200 an hour, and then that's how he gets to 20.
Maybe
that's how he gets.
We'll give him
I was now at 3 times the original cost I was quoted to launch Realm.
Whoa! That just blew our theory out the water, didn't it?
That's fantastic. Hang on.
I was now at 3 times the original cost I was quoted to launch Realm.
All right. This is where I have to stop everything. What is he paying for? What is he paying $20,000 for?
That's
what is this man paying?
What am I missing?
What is he paying for? Somebody, I am not going to set myself up as a good businessman. I'm not a good businessman, but somehow I've managed in doing this for 7 years not to spend $20,000 on fuck all. Here's what you do. This is what you do. And I can't believe Jeff Lane didn't say this, because he's a dumb piece of shit too. I can't believe this is maybe the ultimate problem with Vince Russo. He doesn't have anybody in his life that gives a shit about him enough to stop him from doing this. What you do is you say, Mark Ronick goes, well, I'm shutting down the Realm Network. You register about 5 different domains with GoDaddy. You go to Libsyn, get their Big Daddy Mondo package for $60 a month, and you call it the Russo Network. That's what you do. Or you call it the Brand by Russo Network or something like that, instead of buying something that has no value. What value is there to the brand? What did this man buy? How stupid are you?
What, $60 a month? Is that what you said?
Yes. Maybe for the Mondo huge package on Libsyn. Like I said, there's Podbean and many others that do it for free. You can't. I could put you on the West Coast and I could say, Brian, we're going to take 3 years. I want you to walk through every town on the West Coast. I'll do the same thing on the East Coast. I'll meet you in Kansas. We could not find somebody that would pay $20,000 for the Realm Network. You and I couldn't do it. It's not physically possible. I have a car in my driveway, a 2013 Toyota Prius that has 275,000 miles on it. It is worth more than the Realm Network. That car is worth more.
More dependable too.
I can tell you right now that car is worth more than and he paid, and nobody ever said to him, not his wife, not Jeff Lane, not Disco, by the way, I have to tell you, Disco comes out as the babyface in this whole thing. Disco keeps calling him a drama queen. He keeps calling Vince Russo a drama queen, and he's 100% right.
But is it a work though? I never know what to make.
No, I think he's gonna. I don't know about Disco. What did you just spend $20,000 on? What did you just buy? What have you bought? If I can go out and I spend $20,000 on a used car, I've got, well, there's a used car. I have it. I can use this. I can go to work every day and make money. I can go to the store and I can get my groceries. I can go to the doctor. When you bought the Realm Network, you bought nothing. There's no Bob Cheska on anymore. There's no Buzz Burbank. There's no Mark and Lowell. There's no Brad and Britt. There's no Katie Vick is Alive. There's no Gaming Marathon. There's no nothing. The City That Breeds. None of that stuff is on there. And no one cares. Nobody subscribes to podcasts based on, that's a great Realm Network podcast. I got to get that. Most of them have no idea what the network you're on is. Like the Gilbert Gottfried thing. I have no idea what network that shit is. Podcast One, I know that Steve Austin is on that thing, but I also know that there's like 5 people total that are making money on Podcast One. What did this idiot spend 20? And again, part of me feels sorry for him. And part of me is like, what? Listen, Vince, if you have this incredible faith in God, do you think God wanted you to take $20,000 and wipe your ass with it? Because that's basically what you just did. You've got nothing.
He's going to associate with Sean Morley and freaking
Aubrey Huff.
I mean, that any empathy I had is out the door just right there.
Maybe the message from God is to punish bad people like you, Vince, by taking your stupid money. You bought nothing. You spent $20,000 on shit. And by the way, the end of the story is he's bought less than nothing.
I had to make a decision. And on Sunday night, a decision was made for me. As Jeff and I worked feverishly into the night, trying to figure this out.
Watching Brokeback Mountain, drinking Cabernet.
While we were sitting on our computers, somebody hacked into the program.
Listen, I don't even know what Grindr is. Would you shut up?
Attempting to compromise it and do considerable damage. Right before our very eyes, they were tampering with our hard work.
The horrors! Somebody tampering with your hard work and blocking you from being on a network. What could that be like?
Perhaps looking to just wipe it all out. Yes, somebody wanted us silenced. Being totally helpless, we called our server company to shut down the site immediately. They reminded us that the system was backing up itself every few hours, so we had nothing to worry about. On Sunday morning, I exhausted every contact I had to resolve the problem. The issue was that
I want you to think about that. Every contact, the 4 people in the world who will still talk to him, who might be able to help him out. I don't know. You're fucked. All of these contacts, none of them went, why did you spend $20,000 on that?
First of all,
Magic Beans. You bought Magic Beans, Jack. That's what you just bought for $20,000.
Yeah, we could restore the site, but would this same person just go back in and attempt the same damage?
I'm telling you. You build a website, you get GoDaddy domains, you get somebody. If you try very hard, you can spend $5,000. If you try like really, really, really hard, you can spend $5,000. It's stunning. How I don't know what this man bought. Anyway, the end of the story is that he's hacked. He can't put out his shit the way he wants to, and he's going to email the links to people. And he's asking for your help in all of this.
Honestly, man, normally I would not like, even if somebody we just don't like or whatever, if that, something bad happens, I would refrain from laughing. But damn that on this.
It's unbelievable. I can't believe that. My sincere hope, and I was saying this to the Gaming Marathon guys who really need to start podcasting again, you lazy fucks.
I know. What the hell?
Pissing me off.
Taking summer off. We got stuff to do.
Well, I've got 2 kids now, and I'm just thinking about the vasectomy. It's just hard with the second kid. I can't do it. I just can't be the asshole and boss people around the way I want to. So I'm sorry, I just can't do it.
Sorry. I told him, I said, please, again, if there is a God, thank you, God, for first of all taking $20,000 out of this man's pocket. And by the way, maybe God is punishing the bad people. Dear God, please let this end up in a lawsuit. Please, 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 please let this end up in an ugly, protracted lawsuit where there's a lot of depositions and you and I are called to give depositions and there's so many court documents. Please let this drag out forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Amen. That is the God that I believe in. And the God that I believe in has just stripped a fool. Well, a fool and his money are soon parted, aren't they?
That's what they say.
What did you pay $20,000 for?
And you know, I never really, that was kind of a second thought almost to me when he said that, because I was like, 20,000, because you were the one who did all the
Yeah.
But I never dealt with it. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'm missing something, but apparently not. I wasn't missing a damn thing when I was like, $20,000. Fuck. Oh, damn. Okay. Maybe some more of this than I was imagining and stuff. So I don't know, but now that you say that, I'm like, okie dokie. I was right.
I mean, you can't do it, Bryant. There would be nobody on this earth besides those two idiots, Russo and Lane, who would somehow, and I bet when Mark Ronick throws out a price, he'll never pay it. I'll say, I'll sell it to you for 20 grand. And then Russo goes, deal. What? Holy shit. I'm the dumbest man in the world. And now I've got the second, I'm now the second dumbest man in the world. Holy shit. James Russo. And this is, again, this is probably an indictment of, if you do smoke too much pot, you're going to get stupid. I mean, I'm not an anti-weed guy, but I just think at some point this guy, I mean, he's been naturally stupid for a long time, but holy shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, and here's the other thing too. Is he even telling the truth? Did he really even spend 20,000, or is he just straight up lying?
Well, what tells
either way,
me,
either way, it's it's awful either way.
I didn't play this part, but he goes into this one thing about having to explain to his wife where the money went, and I went, okay, well that's a shoot, because he's scared shitless of his wife, because he'll never
take that either.
He's never going to have another woman who's ever going to do anything to him, ever. They have to sleep in separate beds as it is. I think they fuck once a year on their anniversary, and that's like totally missionary.
Whoa. Can you talk about that? Can we talk about that?
One fall, 5-minute time limit, or TV time remaining.
And this quarter.
I don't, who can blame her? It's like once a year, he has to like scrub up completely and shave and everything and exfoliate, and then it's 5 minutes, and then that's it. And then I'll see you next December or whatever.
Yeah,
and then,
whatever.
Maybe around Easter, in honor of Jesus rising again, his dick rises again. But I don't know. I don't think that. I don't even think she allows that.
I when he said that to me, I thought kind of the exact opposite of when he said that about his wife. I thought that was just complete bullshit. I'm like, why would he say that on this? And her not know about it. Come on now.
Well,
seriously,
I think she makes a habit out of not paying attention to anything that he does. And he's completely beaten down by that woman. It's fairly obvious in any kind of conversation that she totally dominates. And I mean, that's the reason he had the attitude toward women that he did when he was writing bullshit over the years, is that he was completely beaten down and dominated by her. Because he's got no balls whatsoever. All right, SummerSlam, Saturday night on the Peacock Network. It is live from Allegiant Stadium, Las Vegas, Nevada, the home of your Las Vegas Raiders. The stadium was as full as it's ever been on Saturday night when they took on the Seattle Seahawks. Pretty good showing from Nathan Peterman, who now may be the backup quarterback to Derek Carr for your Las Vegas Raiders. Here we go. Allegiant Stadium is going to be lit. Let's go through the card. AJ Styles and Edward James Olmos versus RK Bro. The RK Bro partnership solidifying itself on Monday Night Raw. They are the champs, AJ Styles and Olmos against RK Bro. How do you see this match going, Bryant Williams?
I see it going one of two ways. Either they're going to go this all the way with this RK Bro thing, because the crowd, I don't know. It's one of those things that I still got to see a couple more crowds to be fully convinced, but the San Antonio crowd the other night seemed pretty damn hot for them. So whether you like them or don't like them, the crowd seems to like them. And if they go with that, then I think they will win. Otherwise, I think Orton will turn on him again, and we'll just go back to square one with those guys.
The game with that
Orton
tag
and
team with the
Riddle.
game with the game with RK Bro is the audience is very aware. Obviously, Randy Orton's going to turn on him, but then to tease the turn is what you got to do. And I think you're right. I think it's RK Bro winning the Raw Tag Team Champions, and hopefully we can get AJ Styles onto some singles competition. I would hate to see AJ and almost like face off against each other in anything. I think that would be a huge mistake, but it also might be something that would pop Vince Kennedy McMahon. So we don't know.
Well, yeah. I was watching some of the old TNA from on Pluto.
Yeah.
I forgot what it was exactly, but man, there was this one. Well, first of all, the reason I even say that is the AJ came down with Christopher Daniels. They were tagging, and AJ had that cropped off hair. I mean, it was really cut short. I'm like, God, man, he looks so different. I didn't realize. I knew he had the short hair, but that's the first time I'd seen him with short hair in a while, And I'm like, God, I didn't realize how much of a difference.
It's like what every high school quarterback in the South was wearing in 1993. It was basically that hairstyle.
Yep. Sure enough.
That's what he was doing. Eva Marie making her, I guess, her pay-per-view debut, if you will, back in WWE with Doudrop as she takes on Alexa Bliss in a singles match. This is a huge rivalry, and they build up a lot of heat here.
God, I was hoping you were kidding when you said that.
Are we going to get hot Alexa back or not, Brian?
No, we're not. I think they're just all googly-eyed over this version of Alexa for whatever reason. So I think we're stuck with her for a while.
Again, you got to show me the money on that one to see how is she selling any merch at all. I find it very, very hard to believe. Bruce Pritchard.
Do they sell Lily dolls? Are those available?
Well, they were looking for a Lily to put in there with her. I was hoping they were in this thing and they're going to have a Lily, and then I don't know. Drew McIntyre and Jinder Mahal, another really, really hot rivalry, as Veer and Shanky, who I thought were Scooby-Doo villains up until a couple of seconds ago, they are banned from ringside. It is Drew McIntyre, and boy, have they cooled his ass off with this feud with Jingle My Balls.
Boy, they thought that 3-count thing was going to make the rivalry all hot, right?
Not so much.
No.
I'm ready for another Punjabi prison match with these two. Is what I'm ready for.
That's where it's heading.
I'll just pick Drew because I hope they do that because he deserves to get his heat. Because if we put Jinder over, what the fuck? We haven't done anything with Jinder in a while, unless Nick Khan thinks it's going to be good for the Indian properties and all the Indian sales and stuff like that. So I don't know.
Well, that's funny, but it's really kind of true. I would imagine. I wouldn't doubt anyway. So I want to say Drew, but fuck, man, I don't know. But logic would say Drew.
Sheamus against Damian Priest. Sheamus is the United States champion, and Damian Priest is challenging. They've taken a little bit of the heat from Damian Priest. I thought he had a pretty good segment last night, but it may be time for him to step up. I would want him to win this one personally.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like if he loses this, where does he go from here?
He's got me, Chief.
I mean, unless he turns into a Ricochet.
Yeah. Edge against Seth Rollins in a singles match. Seth Rollins, who apparently is struggling to find his soul right now, Brian.
Yeah, well, if I see it, I'll let him know.
We get into the meat of the card. It is Bianca Belair, the champion, against Sasha Banks.
Is that right? Are they going to have that match? Really?
Well, it's very interesting. As we all know by now, there were some problems with those two with making their appointments and their scheduled dates in Charlotte over the weekend. And by the way, Charlotte didn't make it to Charlotte, even though she was billed as being there because
but those are different circumstances.
Her daddy and her soon-to-be husband were in Mexico City, and apparently the WWE was none too happy about that situation. You may have heard this one because that was a pretty good opening episode of AEW Rampage Friday night, as some of you saw. A good match between Christian Cage and Kenny Omega, as Christian Cage takes both the Impact and the TNA title away from Kenny Omega. He has both of those championships now on him. So he lost on Friday. He was scheduled to lose the AAA Mondo Big Grande Enchilada Championship. And that's when Tony Khan goes, could we have him not lose 2 nights in a row? He'll drop it some other time. Don't worry about that. Very sad news out of Jacksonville is Tony Khan's daddy had to cut Tim Tebow from the roster of the Jacksonville Jaguars. owning the libs by cutting him on first cut in training camp after a horrific blocking
Owning the
experience.
libs.
That's how we own the libs. It's to sign Tim Tebow and give him a paycheck for about a month. The AA All-Star, Tim Tebow.
I was so triggered for those 4 months. I just go,
You know who's been dreadful on that whole thing is Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless has just been
really?
onward Christian soldiers with Tim Tebow. I think I heard him say about a month ago that based on what Tim Tebow did when he was a Denver Bronco, he was one of the greatest clutch performers we'd seen in the National Football League history. I think I heard him say that with a straight face to Shannon Sharp. So
I don't even know what to say about that.
the bumper king cut him from the Jaguars today. And by the way, as Colin Cowherd pointed out, it is the NFL's worst roster. He couldn't even make the worst roster in the National Football League.
Just saying.
It's one
Putting
thing
it out
like,
there.
You try out for Tampa Bay, you get cut. It's no big deal. I mean, Tampa Bay world champions. They got Pro Bowlers all over the field. You can't even swing a dead cat without hitting a Pro Bowler. You're in Jacksonville. You're in shit city. You got the kid with long hair behind center, and that's it. And like maybe one guy on the fence.
You need to give him an A for effort. Come on now.
He
could have hung it up after all this time, but he decided to go out and give it his all and show everybody that they were wrong. And you know what? They weren't.
So we do not know if Bianca Belair will take on Sasha Banks, but that match is still scheduled. The Usos,
circumstances. What is it? Unforeseen circumstances.
Unforeseen circumstances. The Usos, Jimmy and Jay against the Mysterios. This has turned into a pretty hot little rivalry. There's a tag team matchup for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships, which the Usos do hold. Are we finally going to get the punishment for the Usos with the Juice who blew a 20.5 on the breathalyzer? Is he finally going to have to drop the title because of his bad deeds? Because he was on television looking good for about a month after that.
I don't know, man. Do they really want to give the belts to the Mysterios?
They're pretty exciting, and they seem to be over with the crowd. They're pretty hot baby faces.
I guess. I don't know. Honestly, man, I really hadn't paid attention to the way I think I kind of zone out anymore when the Mysterios come on, and that's just a personal thing. They probably are really good, but they don't interest me, and I don't know why that is, other than I'm just not. And I've talked so good about Dominic in the past. I think he's on his way up. He's so young and he's got so long to go and all that stuff. But I just think they're thrusting him into these main events and sometimes it works with some of the lower card kind of things. But I don't know, man. Having them take on the Usos when the Usos are just at the top of their game right now with Reigns and all that stuff going on. I just don't. I am not convinced on Dominic, and I think it's also the fact that now that I'm thinking about it, that maybe Ray is just. I'm just, I love Rey Mysterio. I respect everything he's did. I enjoyed watching him and stuff, but it's just I don't want to say I'm tired of him. That sounds so awful. I don't want to say it that way.
But it's time for him to go. It's time to move on and retire and get your just rewards there.
He makes some nice moves still. He's still agile, I guess, for his age, so to speak, in the ring and that sort of thing. But let's face it, man. He's not the Rey Mysterio of 20 years ago. And it's just not as exciting. And most of the time he's getting his ass kicked. For that matter, if you want to get down to it and go back and look, go back to the Brock Lesnar stuff. And I don't know. I just think it's a combination of that and the fact that Dominic, they're trying to push Dominic on us too much. And I don't want them to doing that because I like Dominic. I want him to be kind of eased into us. And I don't think he's been eased into us. But again, that's just my opinion.
He's been a good performer for what he's done. The kid can work pretty well. He's had some people who have made him look very good in the ring, but I think he's done pretty well with what he's been given.
Thank you. And that's what I've said before. I've said that despite the fact that he's young and definitely still green. I mean, he's got a little bit of time under him, maybe not much, but yeah, other people are making him look good. And yeah, he does have the ability to make himself look good. I'm not saying that at all, but I think that's part of it here. I think that he just moves kind of, I don't know, man. I'm not every time he makes like some over the top rope move or some even like a move off the top rope into the ring, it just I just cringe because it just looks so awkward. I don't know. He's not as smooth as his dad, and he takes the bumps well.
Yeah,
especially like the Brock Lesnar thing I was just mentioning. You know, when Brock got him and all fucked him up a couple. He really sold, man. He was awesome, but I'm just not sold on him with the Usos and all right now. I just that again. Somebody explain it to me, or you can explain it to me why I might be wrong on this.
I can understand. I think some of you thinking on that about him, coming up too fast and too soon, and it's kind of being shoved down our throats. But I also think that it's been pretty exciting, and it seems to have gotten over with the crowd so far. So we'll see what goes on SummerSlam. Bobby Lashley, your WWE champion, being challenged by Oldberg, who was apparently sponsored by Sonic, from what I saw last night on Raw.
Yeah.
I don't know in what universe Goldberg goes over in this match. I don't think it should happen. But unless
and what does that say? As much as we talk about Bobby Lashley, we're saying Bobby Lashley should win this. Unless
the idea is that you're going to go with that Saudi Arabian blood money and have another show back there later this year, and that Saudi prince really wants to see the title on Goldberg, which may be the case. I don't know. That may be what's happening here. So you just don't know.
Fuck.
Roman Reigns with Paul Heyman against John Cena in a singles match for the Universal Championship. Easily, that looks to have the most heat of anything. Those two have built up very, very nicely. John Cena putting some doubt in our minds, saying, hey, if I win this one, it's 17, baby. Number 17. And Roman Reigns making fun of him for just coming up with dick jokes in front of the crowd in San Antonio.
Yeah, I've enjoyed this more than I thought I would, actually.
Well, part of the reason you've enjoyed it so much is because none of those idiot writers are making up their promos. John Cena does his own shit, and then Paul Heyman and Roman do theirs. So none of the writers are getting their fingers in the pie on this shit.
There you go.
That's part of the reason you're enjoying it. And then Nikki Ash against Charlotte Flair against Rhea Ripley again. We don't know if Charlotte's still going to be punished because of her daddy's actions again, but that's going to be also the main event, top of the card, if you will. Even it is what they're showing right now, on top of Roman Reigns and Cena. It may turn out to be a little different when that comes out, but it's Nikki Ash against Charlotte Flair against Rhea Ripley for the Raw Women's Championship. And any thoughts on that particular main event, if you will, the Women's Championship?
I don't know if they purposely muddied the waters on all this, but I really don't know what they were going to do. My guess would have been that it was either going to be Charlotte or Nikki Ash. But now that this whole her going to AAA and ditching out on the city of Charlotte, and the whole Rick thing, so they may very well punish her, dude, and just put the belt back on, or keep the belt on Nikki. I don't know. I just don't see him putting on Rhea again. Maybe they will, but I just, that's how I see it.
Quick review of the new show Heels on Stars. I just saw it. Stephen Arnell does a great job with this. I think if you get a chance to see it, it's going to remind you of some of the old CWF Mid-Atlantic days, or whatever indie promotion is in your town. It does have some of that to it. I think everybody does a good job. Mary McCormick is in this show. She played Howard Stern's wife in Private Parts. She also was on West Wing and has played many things over the years, had a long career. It's a very interesting, entertaining thing. It's got some inside baseball as far as the business and stuff. It's Stephen Arnell is the older brother. Their father has passed away, left them a wrestling promotion in the small town of Duffy, Georgia. And his brother is the good-looking babyface who he wrestles against. And his brother, in the first episode anyway, is going to be discovered and taken up to the big leagues. And it's a very interesting show. I don't know if it's going to be a hit or not, but it certainly looks like it's got some legs, and it's very interesting so far. So if you get a chance to watch Heels, you should definitely do that. Yeah, I haven't. I've seen the previews for it several times on different other outlets and stuff, but I don't have Stars, so I don't know. I don't know if I'll be able to see it or not. And thoughts and prayers to Governor Greg Abbott of Texas. He has tested positive for COVID-19. So again, thoughts and prayers to you, Governor Abbott. Thoughts and prayers. They're coming at you full speed there, brother. Hashtag thoughts and prayers. You can follow Bryant on Instagram and on Twitter at Bry Sports, BRY Sports. You can follow me at Britt Whitmire on Twitter, at BDub for Reels on Instagram, BDUB number 4 REELZ. You can follow the show at Katie Vick Alive if you want to help us out and buy stuff that you might need for the beginning of school opening back up. You can shop at our Amazon store. That is katievick.com. It's katievick.com. It doesn't change the price of the stuff you're buying, but it does help us out. And we certainly do appreciate every bit of your support. Until next time, fans, we'll see you ringside.